And now, Alan, it's time. Let's review the Fantastic Four First Steps. This is a big one for me because, and by the way, this will be spoiler free. We will not talk about the second half of the movie. We'll do that in a spoiler review Friday once the movie is out, and you can participate in the conversation because you will have seen it or you have chosen to not care about spoilers. I will say most of what's on Reddit is pretty accurate. Most. So there you go.
Can I read my first paragraph of the review as part of explaining the plot?
Please,
okay,
let's do it. We'll get into it.
This is the plot, or at least the first part of the plot. The Fantastic Four First Steps opens with our heroes at home. Sue Storm is on the can staring at a pregnancy test. Reed Richards enters, focused on finding iodine. She tells him she's pregnant, and Reed is stunned but positive. Meanwhile, Johnny and Ben are making dinner with the robot called Herbie. When Sue and Reed arrive late, the news is shared and everyone is happy. Yes, this is how the movie spends its first 20 minutes. 69.
Well, that's true. That is true. But the main thing is, where does this rank with Marvel and everything going on with the superhero genre? And here's what I'll say off the top. I like this movie better than Superman. It's more focused on a smaller group of characters. It has a singular big threat. And the way that Marvel has handled comedy has really actually hurt Marvel films, because the events, there is humor in this film, but it is character driven humor, not driven by the events. The problem I have with the way that Marvel has used humor in their films of late, Captain America, Brave New World, especially Thunderbolts, name the other films.
Honestly, everything since Endgame.
Yeah, everything since Endgame has been quippy joke, nothing matters. What makes this movie stand apart and is even less a superhero movie than a science fiction film about a major threat that can destroy and kill everyone on Earth, and 4 heroes that rise to meet that threat and what they must sacrifice in order to defeat said villain. And it is taken with utmost seriousness. Now there's humor with The Thing and Human Torch and little Between the Family, jokey there, like a family. But the events of the film itself are taken with deep seriousness. We haven't seen that in so long. I forgot what that was like. Like, you feel the impending doom of what is about to come with Galactus. And there are action sequences here that where there are stakes and there's not a joke here at all. Mm-hmm. You know, it's really taken with the level of seriousness. And we also saw, this is no spoiler, no surprise. It's in, everything. Sue gives birth. We've never seen a birth in the Marvel universe. So let me just hit the highlights too. Pedro Pascal is insufferable. I can't stand. I'm saying Pedro Pascal is insufferable. I don't like his political takes. I don't like him on social media. He is also overexposed as an actor. In the last few months, I've seen him in two other movies which I liked.
Yeah, you liked all Pedro Pascal movies this year.
Well, I did, but let me explain. It is true he's insufferable. It is true he's overexposed. It can also be true he's a very good actor. Now, is he the Reed from the comics? He is not. He is a different take on Reed, but it works for this movie. And that's what I'll say about that. I think, I'll just say, if you don't like Pedro, there's nothing I can say, but he doesn't ruin the movie. He actually, it's almost a toned down version of him. You may disagree. Now, if
Yeah.
we get into the powers, love the way Johnny's powers work. Great. The Thing, oh my God, it's Jack Kirby. But Reed's powers are so weak in this. He's almost like Spider-Man. He kind of stretches and he kind of climbs and swoops around and swings.
He uses his powers to swing from building to building.
Yeah, and that's what he uses. Now, if you know the comics, there's so many other ways Reed can use his powers, not just to stretch and, draw on a chalkboard that's 10 feet away. There's other things he can do, and they really did not use his powers. I guess you could say his powers is his mind. Each of them has attributes that I think are beyond the physical powers. Thing is a great pilot. He's brave. Sue, while she's not as girl bossy, I mean, look, some people are hypersensitive to that, her girl bossness, but there's a cringe thing in the beginning where she brokered some world peace deal with countries.
With the mole
and
man.
I just rolled my eyes. I don't ever remember that in the comics. I remember Sue baking a cake and wearing an apron. Now, that's a little dated. Let's not do that. There's a happy medium. And she's a strong character in the way that she's
not a ditz. Let's put it that way.
And she's trying to protect her child. I feel like her girl bossness, whatever you can say, actually comes from a place that we understand. Because any good mother, you try to do anything to their child, a good mother, you have awoken a beast. And that's what Sue is for the movie. Is she really is her strength comes from her being protective of her child, of Franklin, who we see born in the movie in a way that I thought it was going to get, they did it in a clean way you would do in a movie that's tasteful, but it's the first birth of a child in the Marvel universe. The other thing I'll point out is Reed and Sue have a good relationship.
Mm-hmm.
They're
definitely in love.
But Reed as portrayed by Pedro has the same flaw that Reed had in the comics. Mm-hmm. He's less a leader in this, but more of a distracted nerd that cares about the parts and this thing and this machine, whatever. He's so distracted with science and
saving the world
that he's not the best husband. That's from the comics too. I recall that. It's like in the comics he's so obsessed with solving the problem he doesn't see the family in front of him. And I got to say, Ben Grimm, so good. Actually, the voice didn't bug me. Once you get used to it, it's actually good. Ibn Masbakarok's voice is good in the film. And the way the sound effects of the thing moving or walking, it's always it's like someone 2,000 pounds walking next to you. So I got to say, all the actors really, they did a good job. They didn't phone it in. You really buy them. And Reed, while I don't think he's the leader that I come to expect out of the 60s cartoons and the Kirby Lee run of comics, he's a take on the character that is not what we remember, but works. Especially the obsessed scientist. Other things praiseworthy are the look of the film. I thought was great. The score is, so many of the Marvel scores are generic. The score for the film by Michael Giacchino is actually on Spotify now. I listened to the score before seeing the movie. Galactus score is great. It's phenomenal. It works. All I could say is they put a lot of love and effort into this that was not put into Captain America and Thunderbolts. Mm-hmm. They cared more about this movie, from the score to the effects, which I think are the best we've seen in a Marvel movie in
a very long time.
Probably since Endgame and Infinity War. These are the best effects. They just are. A lot of the effects are practical. The ship, which I love that it's named the Excelsior, is practical ship that they built. And this isn't really a spoiler, but at the end of the credits, there's a tribute to Jack Kirby that is amazing. That bookends with the beginning of the film. The fact that they paid tribute to the 94 cast in the movie as cameos, as reporters, the Jack Kirby love, the cosmic stuff, which we won't get into because that's spoilery. It just looks like Kirby was there drawing it. The look of Galactus, which we've seen glimpses. When you see him, he's a terrifying villain. Marvel has always had a villain problem, right? The villains are not scary. I mean, the leader from Captain America Brave New World, Thunderbolt.
I mean, not since Thanos, basically.
Not since Thanos. And Galactus is terrifying. Last thing, I want to hear what you have to say. I'm sorry, Alan, I'm dominating here. My apologies. Shalla as Silver Surfer. A lot of people I respect, have a huge problem with it. I have a huge problem with it. They should have stuck to the source material. It would have required bringing in Thing's girlfriend, Alicia Masters. She plays into that. Silver Surfer finds his humanity and his roots from Alicia, the blind girlfriend of the Thing. That's comic accurate, okay? They changed to Shalla because we've seen this in clips that have come out and other trailers. There's some sort of a romantic interest between Johnny and Shalla. Now, they could have made Johnny gay and had a male Silver Surfer. They did not do that. And I'll say this. I'll end with this. This is the most heterosexual Marvel movie to date. Even though I think in one scene you kind of see
there are lesbians in one scene,
background characters that may be a couple. Who knows? Maybe they're sisters. You don't know. But all I'll say, this is the most family. It's about protecting a child. I'd say it's the most pro-life film. Underneath the surface of this movie is the most family, heterosexual, loving couple that have normal problems, a family that has normal problems, and I will recommend it. And I'll say this, a more focused movie because there are fewer characters. I like that Herbie is kind of the family dog. That's a holdover from the comics. I love that they made that work. That was kind of a cool little nod, and I recommend it. I don't have a real number rating, so as yet, it's but between a 6.5 and 7 for me, maybe a 7.5. I want to see it, but I want to see it again. I enjoyed it more than Superman, and I was surprised by my reaction. And I don't know that this movie will be as divisive. I think a lot of people will not like it. But
they won't hate it.
They won't hate it. This isn't, again, it's a weird thing like with Superman, and I didn't hate Superman either, but I didn't love it. But this movie I found more to like. The things I thought I would have an issue with, female Silver Surfer, Pedro's performance, girl bossery, that stuff is not as present. It may have been cut down. There were a lot of, the movie is, the running time of the movie is hour 55, maybe hour 58 with credits. The Mole Man in it, Paul Walter Hauser, I like him as comic relief. He's fine. He's not my Mole Man.
He's barely in the movie. Yeah.
He's barely in the movie, but it's fine. It does play into the story in a way. So I recommend it. Liked it better than Superman. So still figuring a number rating, but it's over 4. Alan, what did you think?
Okay. So I appreciate the 3 Asian background actors.
Yeah.
If you could maybe throw a bone, maybe a line or two, that would be awesome. But yeah, but at least you got us in the background. There you go. You know, the biggest thing for me is when the movie ended, I just felt like, why why am I not feeling, uplifted and positive and excited after the movie ended? I think you're right. I give Fantastic Four a bare recommendation, a 6.5. I definitely like Superman better than this. But I remember when the first Avengers came out. I took my daughter. We saw it. She loved it. I mean, I think she was 7 around the time when the first Avengers came out, and we wound up seeing the Avengers 7 times in the theaters when it came out, and then Infinity War. You watch these movies and you walk away thinking, Marvel can do no wrong. Marvel is great. And after this one, it was like I saw a Marvel movie, and it didn't suck. I mean, I can watch it again without feeling like I'm doing it, but it's the take on the movie. I read to you the opening 20 minutes of this movie, and it really leans into family, almost Fast and Furious ways into family, where it's just kind of like, okay, we get it. The action played out fine. Galactus shows up fine. I really wanted, the best thing to say, I don't hate this movie. I don't dislike this movie, but it's okay when it should have been great. Marvel has just not been able to get over that hump. I think part of the reason why is, again, 1, we're leaning too much into family. 2, Reed is not a leader. Reed is the smartest man in the world. And therefore, people follow him because of that. But Reed does not inspire his team to do greatness. That is my issue with Reed. A leader inspires, and that's something we need to see in movies, especially superhero movies. I think Superman is becoming a leader. He's not yet the leader of the metahumans. But you're seeing that progression there in that, at least. You liked the practical effects. I thought they were okay. I liked it practical, but for some reason, this movie still felt like a CG movie. And I think a lot of that had to do with the original MCU movies took place, they shot it on a mountainside. They shot it in a cave. They shot it in New York. It just felt real, like this was our world. And this one is this hyper-realized retro 60s world. And it just didn't feel, as practical as everything was, it still felt CG to me. And so I think in the end, I just wanted to feel like I saw something great, and I didn't. I felt like I saw something okay. And that's pretty much where I stand with Fantastic Four. I'm just like you. I think the smartest thing they did was ground the seriousness of this world. I've said it over and over again, that the reason the MCU worked in the first few phases was because on Earth, it was serious. There were real stakes. There were real characters. This was the real world. Even Captain America First Avengers was real. And then James Gunn comes in with Guardians of the Galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy is very light, very humorous, very silly and wacky. And that was the difference. Earth, serious, Galaxy, wacky. And if they had kept it like that, instead of bringing the wackiness of space and bring it to Earth, like in the Marvels takes place in space, but the Thunderbolts, Ant-Man and the Wasp, they made Earth too wacky to where you just don't, like I said, you don't get its authenticity.
Nothing matters. Nothing
Nope.
matters.
Yeah, nothing matters.
Everything's a joke. If everything's a joke, nothing matters. That's not true in this movie.
Nope.
They got away from that.
And that is the number one thing they got right here.
Yes.
I did like, things that I thought were going to be bad weren't bad. But again, I wanted them to be great. And is that so much to ask for?
I hear what you're saying. It didn't have that like triumphant where you're like, yes.
Yeah. Well, let me before you go, let me just make this comment. To me, having just seen the 1994 Fantastic Four, to me, the amount of superheroism is the same. And the quality of the story is the same. This felt like a issue of the comic book. And it plays out like all the other television adaptations of the Fantastic Four story wise, in terms of, I mean, Galactus is great. And again, you want greatness, you want to feel inspired. And, I think I'm glad this movie exists after having seen Thunderbolts and Captain America Brave New World.
And
Okay,
would you agree this is the best Marvel movie this year?
Yes, it is. It is
The
by
best.
far. It is 100 times better than every other Marvel movie this year.
Yeah, the other two Marvel movies that came out this year, this is better than those.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you. You're feeling that it didn't quite reach the heights, but there was so much. There's more to love than to dislike in the film, and for that, I recommend it. And I will read your review.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe mentioned it on Versus last week, where you haven't had a drink of water for 8 hours. You finally got a drink of water, and it tastes great. That's my feeling about Fantastic Four.